Now, Ray, don't get too ahead of yourself. I wasn't the governor of Wethersfield, just the mayor. But Governor Rell does have a pretty good tune to it. Good afternoon, Monsignor, Father Melnick, Reverend Smallwood Garcia, governors, distinguished guests, loved ones, friends. Thank you for your support, your kindness, and your love over the last couple weeks. As you heard, this is my sister Meredith and myself, Michael. We are here to celebrate the life of our mother, former Governor Jodi Rell, and share a little bit about her. Many have often wondered, and I think I've heard Ray mention it on the radio sometimes, where the M in her name comes from. Born Mary Carolyn Rell, or Mary Carolyn Revis of Norfolk, Virginia. She grew up on a naval base. My mom and her best friend June would often date naval officers. One officer insisted she looked like actress Joey Hetherington, but mistakenly called her Jodi. While that officer didn't stick around, the name sure did, and she became known to all as Jodi. It was here in Norfolk, when just shy of her 20th birthday, she would meet our father, Louis Robert Rell. Originally from Pennsylvania and from a long line of Lewises, he was affectionately known as Bob. Mary and Bob, a naval aviator turned TWA pilot, would soon marry in the spring of 1967, and shortly after moved to Connecticut, so he could be close to the New York airports in the small town of Brookfield. They would become Lou and Jodi elsewhere. With different families, they would be Bob and Mary, which confused many, but not to my sister and me. With a husband away more than he was home and two young kids, Mom joined the Women's Auxiliary of the Brookfield Volunteer Fire Department. She helped neighbors on various committees and school activities, and before long she became involved in local campaigns and thought of as a rising star in local politics. She was a campaign treasurer, a state representative, a lieutenant governor, and eventually governor of this great state. The kind lady that she was our mother. Over the years, we have heard of her kindness beyond her leadership roles. In a message soon after my mom's passing, a military friend of mine shared a story of the kind of person our mom was. He and his unit had arrived home from Afghanistan to Bradley. Our mother was waiting, welcoming soldiers back, when she extended her hand to the first soldier coming off the stairs. They shook hands, and my friend was next to follow. Mom again extended her hand for a shake, and he said, "No, ma'am, we hug in my family." She identifies him by his rank, her military background beaming, and says, "Well then, come here, Sergeant," and proceeds to give him a huge welcome home hug. Everyone felt like family to our mom. And speaking of family, in 2010, my nephew was in kindergarten. The teacher had asked him and his schoolmates where they were going for Thanksgiving. My nephew, then 5, said he was heading to the governor's mansion. The teachers thought he had a wild imagination. When questioned, my sister-in-law did in fact confirm that this was true. And 2 weeks later, Mom cleared her morning schedule. She showed up as Grandma Jodi, and to the audience's surprise, at their annual kindergarten Christmas concert. She would continue to attend every first day of school, concerts, sports activities, and as her grandchildren grew up, she just beamed with pride. She shared holidays and developed long-lasting relationships with mine and Meredith's extended families. Some take up traveling in their retirement. but because our father's job would make her a world traveler before her 40s, flying to Brazil, Spain, Hawaii, and all points in between. But after her retirement, she would take up traveling yet again. With friends and family, she would take multiple cruises, travel to Alaska, Nova Scotia. She rode a riverboat down the Mississippi, and recently she traveled to Ireland and Iceland. But without question, her favorite place was a small town on the Jersey Shore called Ocean City. Every year, the last 2 weeks of June, our mother would pack us up and head down to the shore. Here, some of our best memories were made. From sitting on the beach to walking the boardwalk and riding the amusements. In her later years, she would just take the grandkids. Meredith and I would follow 2 or 3 days later. She enjoyed reading on the front porch and waiting for her grandbabies, as she called them, to return from the beach and then later share a cocktail with Meredith, Maura, Matt, and myself. In the last 50-plus years, Mom only missed going 3 times. Summer of 2004 when she was first inaugurated, 2014 when our father died, and in 2020 because of the pandemic. In 2022, at the age of 76, she climbed into a go-kart with our cousin and sped wildly around the racetrack. He would later convince her to go parasailing. She said it was peaceful up there. Meredith, Matt, Maura, and I, along with Tyler, Madeline, Shane, and Charlie, our cousin Carrie, were her pride and joy. But our mother's heart and soul were with our dad, Lou, his brother, Uncle Alan, our Uncle Alan, Aunt Phyllis, and cousin Justine. While our hearts are broken today, we know her heart is full as she has been reunited with them. We are eternally grateful that our mom was part of our lives and yours. Today, Mom is looking down, smiling, and saying, "Really? You shouldn't have done all this for me." So on behalf of the Rell and O'Connor family, thank you for your kindness and your support. God bless you, Mom. You left your mark on your family and your legacy on Connecticut. Thank you.
To the world, she was known as Governor, or Jodi. To some, she was a cherished friend. To a fortunate few, she was family. But to Michael and I, she was Mom. My mother's legacy is vast, and her accomplishments are well documented. But I'm not here to recount those. You can find plenty of examples online. Instead, I want to share with you how the woman you admired publicly was the same person we knew privately. She led the state with the same care and motherly love that she showed our family. Those of you in the legislature or the press might have experienced one of her trademark looks of disappointment over her reading glasses. Believe me, Michael and I experienced those too, most often when we broke curfew. I remember her coming home after long work days in session to find every light on in the house, saying, "We are not supporting the electric company," showing that same fiscal responsibility she showed in Hartford. She taught us to carry ourselves with class, like always drinking from a glass, because sure enough, that one time you drink straight from a bottle, someone will snap a photo. My mom was the kind of person who made anything that mattered to you just as important to her. She made it a point to get to know our colleagues and friends, and while many admitted feeling nervous before meeting her, they instantly felt at ease in her presence. They cherished the moments when she passed hors d'oeuvres at our holiday parties or cheered enthusiastically from the sidelines as she watched her grandkids play sports. Michael and I were fortunate to marry into wonderful families. and she had a heartfelt love for them, welcoming them wholeheartedly as her own. After leaving office, she dedicated herself to her favorite role, being a grandmother. Whenever she visited our home, she would walk right past me to wrap her grandkids into a hug, as if I wasn't even there. She loved standing back to back with them to measure their height, or driving them to the dollar store so that they could pick out little toys and treats, a small tradition that brought her endless joy. My mother was the person I always turned to for advice. She knew exactly what to say and how to say it. In fact, I put off writing this for far too long because she was not here to help me with it. From my 5th grade essay to just a few weeks ago when I needed help crafting an email about a challenging situation, she was always my go-to. And if you were struggling or feeling sorry for yourself, as her friends and I know well, she would let you have a 2-minute pity party. But then it was time to splash your face, square your shoulders, and face what came next. She was not one to dwell or feel sorry for herself. Every morning, for the past week or so, I wake up thinking I've had the worst nightmare. I open the door to go outside. I pause. I think to myself, no, I cannot do this. I cannot be motherless in this world. I have received many messages of comfort this past week, but one from a friend stood out. I am so sorry about your wonderful mom. Why can't we keep them forever? As heartbreaking as that is, I believe she will live on through me and my family. I relied on her guidance and advice throughout my entire life, and now I have to find that strength within myself and trust my inner voice. One of the greatest compliments I've received is when people say they see my mother in me, or tell me how much I resemble her. As heartbroken as I am, I also consider myself incredibly lucky to have had her as my mom. So, I'll gather myself. I will square my shoulders. But Mom, I hope you understand that I need more than 2 minutes this time because it hurts. Know that we will miss you greatly and love you lots. Great job.